just keep you from putting our kids in the ground. So we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. So we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
Hello, everybody. Happy Mother's Day and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Glad to have everybody out there. Got Arizona even showed up, Tucson,
Yeah.
and almost as far away as Norfolk, Virginia.
I
At least
guess
for
it
me.
depends. Yeah, it depends on your starting point, I think. But
Yes.
so, Philip, what's going on in the 2A world these days?
Well, we are working hard to try to get these CHP fees reduced. That's been taking up some time. We have, as a lot of you know, we have a committee looking at concealed handgun permit fees, reducing them in Virginia. In Virginia law, it says basically that the fee shall $10 of the fee goes to the circuit court clerk, and that's non-negotiable. $5 of the background check fee goes to the state police, and they can charge up to $5. So you really can't negotiate a whole lot there. But the third part of the fee, which is up to $35, from 0 to 35, is up to your local chief law enforcement officer. In other words, the sheriff or the chief of police, whoever's running the background checks on concealed handgun permits. So we're trying to get those fees reduced. And in the last alert, I mentioned to anybody, if you think your locality is one that we stand a really good chance, you got a great sheriff or a great chief of police that would be willing to work to lower the fee, I suggested letting me know. And I'll repeat that now for those of you that may not have seen that. If you're in a situation like that, I think we've got four different localities that people have said, yeah, ours should work. So we'll be starting to target those first. In fact, I hadn't looked. Somebody sent me Powhatan. I meant to check that. I haven't checked it. I guess it's at $50. If it is, I know the sheriff there myself, so I'll just give him a call. But they got a great sheriff in Powhatan. But I don't know if it's 50, but I guess it probably is. So we had a couple things on the map. We had a map. There's a map that we've got. It's on the website, but you have to have the. I think the link right now, Pat. You didn't. We haven't. You haven't put the thing anywhere, have you? The map where it's got a
No, I
menu item or
haven't.
something. Okay.
I have not.
It's. We'll have that up if you don't have. If you have the last alert, or go to the website and look at the last alert. It's got a link to the map that show. It's a color coded based upon how the fees are. Like bright red, dark red is a $50 fee, and then dark green is a $15, $15, which is the cheapest you can get. That's assuming that local law enforcement doesn't charge anything for the background check.
Right.
So we're working on it. We're going to try and start with the low hanging fruit first. Get the localities that are probably going to be amenable to lowering their fee, and those that are not or are resisting, we're going to come back, swing back, and get them later. I'm trying to get as many fees lowered as we can, as quickly as we can. Then we'll come back for the recalcitrant ones that are, not wanting to lower it. But really,
Yep.
none of them should have an excuse for charging more than $10 for that background check.
So we'll get to that, the reasoning behind that in a minute. I just checked Powhatan and they said theirs is $45. And
Okay,
Joshua is saying that Pennsylvania basically stated that the sheriff needed that fee, and the CHP fee is at the legal maximum in Pennsylvania. Needing it for things like handcuffs or salaries or things like that is against the law. The $35 is supposed to reimburse the law enforcement agency for their expense to run that background check for your concealed handgun fee. Nothing more. It's not to fund life bulletproof vests or anything like that. So,
right. It's as if you don't need the money. Oh, I need the money
right,
as a sheriff, but you don't need it. That kind of attitude drives me crazy. And so we may have to, maybe we get a whole bunch of people together contacting the sheriff and saying, that's unacceptable, sir. You need to follow the law.
right. And
So,
what Philip was talking about was it shouldn't be more than $10 for the sheriff. When that law was originally passed, and the fee was set at $35. It was to include $25, which was the fee that the FBI charged to process the fingerprints. Well, fingerprints are now not only, they had gone to optional and not mandatory, but now they're not even permitted as far as the resident concealed handgun permit goes. So that $25 expense is no more.
right. And so a sheriff is saying, well, I need all that money. There's just virtually no way that they need all that money. And if they do, then they need to cough up and show exactly what their expenses are. But I don't care what the sheriff wants. He can cover his fees, whatever it costs him to actually do the background check, and not a penny more. So
Right.
again, it's amazing. Here we're talking Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
When you start talking these rural counties, a lot of people think, oh well, we got it made. We're a bright red county. Not necessarily. I remember having a real fight with a judge out in Washington County, way out west, and he wanted to interview CHP holders to get your permit. He wanted you to come in and sit down and have an interview with them. Totally illegal. There was no authority for him to do that. So we got him to stop it. But I mean, it just goes to show you. Sometimes you may actually have better luck in some of our cities than you do some of our rural localities.
Yep. I see John Wilburn commenting that it's $40 down in Montgomery County. John is one of our executive members. Um, and Joshua is complaining about they still get paper cards as well. Yeah, the thing is, the state police dictate what that card is supposed to be. Um, Technically, the plastic cards are extra legal. Um, they're nice. I'm not going to say they're not, but the state police is what dictates what how the card is supposed to look that they give to you.
Okay. It certainly, and was it the Supreme Court that dictated what was on the card?
I
Uh,
don't. I don't remember if it was the Supreme Court. The code says that the state police says what's on the card and how it's supposed to look and so forth. But
I could swear at some point we did do something about the plastic to somehow leave the loophole that they could have it.
right,
You're right. I
right,
mean, I know initially it definitely plastic. We had no, we didn't even see that one coming, but some localities started doing it, and some of them were putting pictures on there, and we objected to that, saying, there's nothing in the law that says anything about a photo on your permit. Um, and uh, but then they made it clear to everybody it's optional, which some people wanted that. I could see that. Your CHP looks a whole lot more official if it's plastic and it has
right,
your photo on it.
right. Yeah, and there was a comment by Bruce that we need to get rid of the carry permit altogether. And yes, we put in a constitutional carry bill every year. So far, every year it has not made it out of committee, but we won't stop until we do get it passed into law, or well, actually repeal the requirement for the permit. Personally, what I would like to see, as long as we have things like the stupid defense-free zones around schools and things like that, I would like to see constitutional carry, but an optional permit that allows people to carry in schools and in other defense-free zones because you've been vetted. So it would make us all a lot safer simply by placing that um, doubt in a criminal's mind. Is there going to be someone there who has the means to stop me from harming the people that I want to harm? So
Yeah,
that's the biggest deterrent in the world, is not knowing who's armed and who's not, but knowing that there's a very distinct possibility that there's at least one, if not many more people in an area that are capable of stopping a criminal activity, a violent
yeah. I
crime.
think the permits just need to remain an option. They're still you
Mhm.
still need them for some things, but to not need one in Virginia for most things, that'd be great. Somebody could buy a gun, new gun owner, get training real quick, and then to where they're comfortable with the gun, they go ahead and just start carrying it like they would either open or conceal carry. By the way, yeah, actually looking at the law, which is 182308.04, it just says the permit to carry a concealed handgun shall be of a size comparable to a Virginia driver's license, may be laminated or use a similar process to protect the permit, and shall otherwise be of a uniform style prescribed by the state police. You're right on that.
Mhm.
So, so this I think would allow the plastic. They would argue it's a form of lamination.
Right. And,
So
for distinction, especially if you're traveling to other states, but even within the state, you want a uniform appearance so that if you do have to show that you're carrying the permit, which you should never have to do, but supposing your shirt rides up or something like that, a wind blows your jacket open, whatever, and law enforcement does ask you if you have a permit to conceal that firearm, then it's if it's uniform in appearance, then it's easy to distinguish that it's actually a valid permit. Although they use the business cards, the printable business cards that you can buy down at any um, business supply place, and run them on an inkjet printer. So um, I don't see much difficulty in if you really wanted to forge one. I don't think it would be terribly difficult. So.
let me see. Yeah, I mean, you got yeah, you just have the clerk's signature. This one, mine's
Mhm.
got a it's got a seal on it.
Mhm.
Um, you can see it's got a stamp. They may all have that seal, so at least there's a sort of a
Mine's
3D
just
element to
printed.
this. Well, mine's
Mine's just
printed, but
printed.
if I hold it at an angle, I can see that it's got. I can't really call it a watermark, but it's a stamp like a notary would use or something. It just makes it embosses card.
Mhm.
That's at least here in Chesterfield. That's how they do it. See, again, that's the thing. It should all be completely uniform, especially
It
when you're
should.
dealing with out-of-state police. They stop you in Alabama. I mean, it's nice if your permit looks like it's a real deal. But
Yep, mine
Virginia's
does
probably
not.
got the
Mine, yeah, other than the
nothing. Wow.
lamination, mine was just printed on a regular business card, and you can even see the perforations where they tore it off the sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, DC, I got my DC permit. I had to renew it,
Hmm.
and I renewed, and they email you the PDF, and you print the PDF, cut it out. I kid you not. I
That
kid
is
you not.
secure. It's yeah.
So I
Wow.
had to, and the way they did it, there was no way to like print the front and then on the same sheet of paper, if you have a printer, well, where you could flip the paper over and have it line up. No
Right.
way. I spent an hour and a half trying everything under the sun. It was not possible. So I had to
And you're
print two separate sheets, cut them out, line them up so I could cut them exactly the same, and then stick one behind the other and take it and have it laminated. And they did a good job laminating it, but it's like, damn, what a rear end.
you're a
Um,
computer programmer.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like I said, man, it's a PDF, and there's no way you can modify it. You can't shift the image in one direction. In fact, if you're not careful, it cuts off part of the image. They didn't even allow a margin. So what I had to do was I took the PDF and I had to make it into a GIF, an image, or it might have been a JPEG. It was a JPEG image. Then I could at least shift it over and put a little margin on it. But how many people know to do that and have the tools to convert a PDF to a JPEG? I mean, it's absolutely bizarre. So as
Right.
crazy as it is here, it's more crazy there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So John's saying he's conflicted about a two-tier permit. I'm not talking about a two-tier permit. I'm talking about if you opt to get the permit, which personally I think that, personally I think that these defense-free zones should be abolished, but that's not going to happen
Mhm.
probably in my lifetime. But if you have a permit, you should be able to go into those supposed gun-free zones with your gun. You've been
right,
vetted,
that's the whole
you
point.
know?
You did everything the
Mhm.
government wanted. The government certified you were a good guy. Why do we have to deal with any of that?
Mhm.
It's like the
Yeah.
battle of sheets of paper.
Yeah.
You have to have a sheet of paper to say that you are a concealed carrier or legal enough to carry a gun, but it's also a sheet of paper that says that you are not allowed to come into certain areas with your firearm. It's nuts to me.
It
Yeah.
is.
I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, so it's a paper war. That's what
Well,
it is.
and let me say that the Democrats in the General Assembly, they they are they've kind of gone completely over the horizon. Uh, you know, uh, and we've been trying, for example, to do this. We've been trying to loosen up. Why can't permit holders carry here or here or there? Or how about in rest stops or whatever? And they've resisted it. Well, I didn't realize the magnitude of where this is going until they wanted to allow off-duty police officers. Not the police wanted there to be able to carry off-duty in state agency buildings and at the Capitol. And the Democrats, all of them said, nope, nope, you're not. And I thought, boy, that's a new extreme for them. It used to be, well, the police could get whatever they want. Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
police could be exempt. Oh no, not anymore. But that's not as new as you might think. They're in a lot of the places that in the past where they had strong gun control, the police had to leave their guns at work and couldn't carry them with them off duty only when they were on duty. And I think DC was like that for a while. And now I don't know if there's anything left of that, but that's how it used to be. And when I was a sheriff in Texas for 2 years, they said if you're a reserve deputy, which is what I was, which means you're not paid. You patrol, you have all you got all the same
Hmm.
credentials and everything as a paid officer, but you volunteer your time. You can't carry if you're not on duty. And so that was Texas. Now their legislator only meets legislative body only meets every 2 years. So that's why we were stuck with that for
Hmm.
2 years. They repealed it after that. But our sheriff just said, "Well, you're on duty 24/7 if you're in my department." So that problem was solved. But I mean, I'm just saying that's how extreme the gun control crowd is. Any of
Yeah.
you out there are police officers and think this stuff isn't going to touch you if we don't put an end to it, you're greatly mistaken.
Right.
They want to get rid of all of it. And I was looking on Twitter, or X as it's now called, and every town had put up this thing about some
Hmm.
person that was gay that was murdered with a gun. Somebody used a gun to shoot them. And I said, well, would you have put this up if they had been stabbed to death and it was just as tragic of a murder? And I said, I think I already know the answer. For them, it's all about guns. Nothing else matters.
Mm-mm.
Now there's Angela. What she got?
She
Oh,
said that she would love one of those challenge coins as a Mother's Day gift. So,
Get hubby on top of that.
yeah.
yeah, I haven't
So
talked to Angela in a while.
I'll put the link, Angela, in the comments here, and you can send it
Give it
to
to
the
your
hubby.
husband.
If you need me to text it or just like do a spam text, buy your wife this coin for Mother's Day. I will be most happy to do that for anyone.
Buy your wife this coin or her boyfriend will.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, Jill, do you need me to send your husband a text like that?
Yeah, I might have to. Let's see what. I think we might
Yeah,
get something going.
Pat really did a good
Well,
job on the coins. Yeah,
they're
that's
beautiful. They really
yeah,
are.
they really are. It's got the little pen and that says veto on the scroll. Uh, which
Yep.
reminds me, the governor only has less than a week now to make his final decision on those 5 bills that the General Assembly that he had modified. The General Assembly said, "Oh no," and sent them back. While we're talking, let me swing over and see if anything has changed because it's going to be any time now. Um, he'll be making a decision. No, not yet. All right. I expect that those bills will die, but
Hmm.
we're going to wait till the fat lady sings, and then we'll decide.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Um, so anyway, the veto coins, I've been burning them like crazy, and we'll be shipping some out. Pretty much filling all the orders this week that I have. So if you've ordered one already, you should be getting it soon. Um, and yeah, they look pretty nice, I think. I
oh
might be
yeah.
prejudiced, but
No, you did a great job. Um, yeah, the other thing we might want to talk about is a sad situation in the Caribbean there with the
mhm.
Turk island and a gun owner that's down there, stranded, basically facing 12 years mandatory minimum, 12 years for having some ammo, no gun to go with it. And there's a story I'll be putting in the next alert because this has been going on for a little while, and there's some other people that have been down this road as well as the Virginia firefighter that or paramedic that's going through this now.
Hmm.
And one guy, he had what did he have? Some kind of hunting ammo. It's like, no, I don't think the gangs and are going to be using hunting ammo in their crime down there. I doubt they have a rifle that it would work in, but they've been putting people through hell down there. And I mean, you're really the description. This article describes the cell that this guy was put in, and man, our prisons are like a palace. We have the Taj
Mhm.
Mahal, compared to what this guy went through. So you'll want to read that. But the bottom line on all that is, boy, if you're traveling, especially out of the country, in the country as well, you really need to check your bags because we're gun owners. I went shooting today. I go shooting every weekend, and I end up with casings or sometimes ammo. I think I've mentioned this a while back. I had a scary situation once, only because I realized the possible consequences. I had a corduroy jacket that I would wear. In the winter, I could wear a coat and tie, and that coat was a corduroy. And what I didn't realize was in one of the pockets had developed a little hole, and a round of 40 Smith and Wesson had dropped in that hole. It was in the liner of the coat.
Oh my.
Who would check the liner at the bottom of your coat that you're wearing? And I discovered it by accident. It was like, holy Columbus! I had no idea. I just pure luck. I found that round, and so you got it. I
Wow.
almost wish I had my own X-ray machine before I went on an airplane, so I could scan all my own stuff just to make
Mhm.
sure. But yet, here you go. Meanwhile, our Virginia paramedic made it through the Richmond airport, which has got pretty good security, and they scan you when you go on to these cruise ships. And so he was scanned again, and so nothing caught it, And then he gets all the way to the Turks, and I think he went off the ship, and then when he was getting back on, for some reason, customs was checking on the way back in or something, and he had his backpack. They found 2 rounds of 9 millimeter, and boy, that was it. In another case, in that story I'll be forwarding, a husband and wife, they found the ammo and in the packed luggage, and because the wife had put some of her stuff in with the husband's case, you women can't live in your own case. You
Mm.
got to steal part of ours. Because she did that, they at first they were going to arrest both of them because they weren't really sure who that ammo belonged to, but she managed to persuade them to let her go because they had children and everything back. So she went back and left him there uh, to deal with this so she could take care of the kids. But they did let her go, but they didn't let him go. So I believe that in fact, yes, the Virginia firefighter is out on bail now. He's not here. He's over there, and apparently the Airbnb prices over there are astronomical. It was like $500 a night that one person was paying. Can you imagine? And you're stuck there. The father said, "I'm not coming back till I'm bringing my son home." Wow, what a great father. But
Mhm.
it's a mess, and
Mhm.
we're watching. He has a GoFundMe page, which I went ahead and contributed some money on there. Um, but if anybody's interested in that, if you send me an email, I'll give you a link to his GoFundMe. I didn't put it in the alert. This is one of those difficult things where I don't want to bother everybody with everything that happens to gun owners. I mean, some of it's just we just can't do. We're not uh, in a position to take care of everybody that runs into a problem just because they're a gun owner. But we try to help if we can. But and the main thing was to get that story out. But if any of you do want to contribute, let me know. I'll just send me at president@vcdl.org, and I will send you uh, the GoFundMe. Yeah, I see the boycott. Yes,
Yeah.
that's something I need to organize. I'll try to get around to that maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'm thinking that we could have our members contact the tourist bureau maybe by email and just say, if this is the way you're going to treat people, I sure as heck am not going to spend any vacation time in your place. It's too dangerous. Thinking I can get 12 years in prison for a simple mistake that hurts nobody. So we'll probably do that. I think that would be a good thing to do. It would benefit him and it would benefit other people in the future. Hopefully, none of you guys would make that mistake. But like I said, what could have happened to me. I mean, I could have if I'd gone on vacation there with that
Mhm.
stupid coat and a round in the lining. It could have been me and visiting their island for a little bit longer than I planned. I mean, it could be that simple. And it's ridiculous that they've got a law like that, but there you go.
And
You
that
know,
could
what are
be
you going
even
to do?
worse because they could accuse you of smuggling. I
Yeah,
mean, if you were
yeah,
padded in the lining of your coat, were
yeah,
you
that's a good
trying to
point. Yeah,
deliberately trying to
yeah.
conceal
I
it
was
to
bringing that
smuggling?
one round of 40 Smith and Wesson that if you fire that, it could blow the whole island up, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah, because it's so
So,
dangerous without a firearm to put it in.
yeah, yeah, Joshua Jennings is pointing out, yeah, the cruise line maybe should be lobbied as well. So, just letting you serve the Turks, and
Hmm.
I'm not going. I'm not taking your ship there any other way. I don't. That island is dangerous for people to make a simple mistake.
Right.
Yeah, could do that. So maybe I can find somebody. Maybe Joshua would like to volunteer to kind of set up an alert, look into some of this stuff, and then I can put something out. Joshua, if you have any interest in that, president at VCDL.org, we can work together. Or if you just have ideas, that's fine. We'll look at doing it. But
Yeah, I
VCDL has
mean,
this nasty habit of saying, if you got a great idea, we'll let you implement it.
stuff can happen in all kinds of ways that you don't even realize. For instance, I received a gun at my shop, and the gun was a used gun, and I unpacked it, and it was all wrapped in all of this paper and everything. So I stuffed all the paper back in the box, and we burn a wood stove in the winter time. So I save boxes and paper like that, and we use it for kindling when we light the stove. Well, Steve took the paper out and ripped the box up and stuffed it into the stove and lit it and shut the door and heard this pow, pow, pow. There was 22 ammo wrapped up in the paper,
Nice.
loose
Oh,
in the
no.
paper that I had no idea because why would you're not supposed to ship the ammo with the gun, right?
No.
So
Oh,
I mean I didn't know. And
yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah, I
could
can
have
see you. Yeah, yeah, I can see you right now. You're saying, are you making popcorn?
almost blew the glass out of the wood stove.
Well,
I
luckily there
mean
isn't much power behind something like that,
there's
but still, it's
there's not much, but it blows hot ashes everywhere and stuff if the
yep,
door's open. I mean, it's
yeah,
it's not fun,
yeah.
you know.
Plus, it was probably full auto.
Mhm.
There's probably
Yeah.
lots of all.
Yeah, full auto ammo, right?
Yeah, who would have thought? It's just one of those things. But that'll get you every time.
Yeah.
Um,
So, what are we doing on lawsuits, Philip? Didn't we just join another lawsuit here lately?
yeah, we did, and Pat's been working, putting together a web page on lawsuits, and I've been going over it, updating it, and finishing up where some of the stuff that she started and didn't have a chance to finish. So we'll have that up shortly, as soon as I can finish going over some more of my stuff and send it back to her to review. But we have so many things going on. But yeah,
Mhm.
we have filed with the state of Texas and with Gun Owners of America. We have filed suit against the BATFE over their new rule about engaged in the business. That thing is so dangerous. You'd be afraid. Some Rich had. Hopefully, that wood stove is transferable. Nope, it's illegal now.
Yeah.
So, but we decided we had to sue over that. I mean, you would be afraid to sell even as they even said a single sale would be
Mhm.
an they. But then sometimes somebody like that helps you when they go overboard.
Mhm.
When the gun controllers go way too far, it actually helps us. Then it's clear, it's easier to fight back when they just can't help themselves and they've got to overstep. And the BATF is
Mhm.
guilty of that. You get power and sometimes you just can't help yourself. You got to go and really go for the gusto.
Right.
And I think that's going to be part of their downfall is that they refuse to do something in a manner that's reasonable. But then again, you have to look at the president who's directing them to Let's shut down an FFL because she put the wrong date in. She spelled December wrong or whatever.
Hmm.
They're doing
Right.
stuff like that. It's
Wednesday.
Yep. So the law is the rule is so bad that more than half of the states are suing the ATF. And by the way, our AG Jason Miyares has signed on to that case where 27 state attorneys general are suing the ATF over that. And that's in addition to the one with Texas that
yeah.
VCDL and GRA are doing. So that makes at least 28 states at this point.
And I think there may be one more suit out there. I think there were 3 independent suits
I
that
think
fired off, and
so.
I don't remember who's part of the other one. So it could be more than 28 states.
Hmm.
Not really sure, but that's how bad that is. But they really, I mean, they left so much open-ended stuff that they could basically. It was sort of arbitrary. It's kind of like when you call about taxes and you ask the IRS a question. You could call 3 different times, talk to 3 different people, and get 3 different answers.
Hmm.
And this is how that was. So
Hmm.
one ATF guy could say, "Oh no, you're fine. That's clearly just a personal sale." Another one say, "I think the same exact sale." Another one could look at it and say, "Nope, you're engaged in the business, so we're gonna charge you, and you're gonna be looking at 10 years in prison."
Hmm.
That's not the way it's supposed to work. You're supposed to know if you're violating the law. It should
Right.
be clear where that line is and when you cross it. So they've got, they're going to get this stuff struck down also just on the fact that it's vague,
Hmm.
and almost meant to be punitive to chill your rights. But
Yep.
that's that bad. Probably the best advice would be to hold off on selling it. Even talk about making it retroactive. Hopefully, I would hold off on selling a gun right now. Buying them, no problem. Selling it, but um, hopefully we'll get a stay. I mean, that's what we're asking for initially. Is we're going to the court saying, put a nationwide stay on this thing, put a stop to it right now, so people can continue on until we get this to court, and then hopefully knock it down permanently.
And from what I
So
understand, the law is so ludicrous that even if you sell your gun to an FFL and you make a
background
profit
check
on the gun, yeah, you could still need a license, even selling it to an FFL because you made a profit on the gun.
again, we know it's a war. We know the goal is to disarm us. And this is just,
Hmm.
if you think of it in that way, that this is not meant to do anything about crime, it's not meant to make us safer, it's meant to disarm us. It's just one of many. They're building a brick wall that in theory we won't be able to cross over at some point. They're just going to lock us out in every direction. If you look at it as a war, being aimed at us, then it all fits. Yeah, it's stupid,
Hmm.
but it fits. If you want to make people too frightened to even sell their guns, to hold on to them, you do this. Now, if you then want to take the guns away from them that are still holding on to them, well, let's loosen up red flag. Let's make it so anybody can take your guns away, and that due process thingy, we'll do that later if at all. It's just we're all different directions. You look all around you, you see the spectrum of what's going on, from kids being scared in school of guns by being scared by the school, to not people not being taught about their civil rights, to trying to ban this gun and trying to ban that gun and get rid of this ammo and more intensive requirements to buy a gun. It's a whole mosaic that's coming at us in all different directions, and we're having
But
to
it's
stand up and fight all kinds of battles.
it's even more
Hmm.
than just trying to disarm us. It's trying to denigrate us. It's trying to shame us into not
Yes.
owning guns anymore. They want to have this stigma that's attached to owning firearms so that people, if they do have the audacity to own a firearm, they wouldn't dare carry it in public or admit to somebody else that they have it because they'll be demonized.
Well, we
So,
went down that road in the 80s and 90s. Back
mhm,
then, if you were a gun owner, you felt like you had to be in the closet because, oh
mhm,
my God, you've got a gun? Oh, What's the matter with you? I mean, that was kind of the attitude. And actually, what's fascinating is that turned around in the 90s and
Hmm.
was reversing and has reversed all. Right now, uh, don't feel like they have to hide their gun ownership. I don't see that, but that's what they're trying to do again. They're trying to drag us back into that realm. I think they're going to have a hell of a time. I think that genie's left the bottle already.
Hmm.
Gun owners are not going to be backing down. And what's helped save us in so many ways, which could also be what's hurting us, is the internet. The internet allowed the spreading of truth and facts about gun rights and kind of put an end to this. We gotta hide and not tell people we're a gun owner. And I think again it will help us fight that whole mentality. But they'd love to get us there again.
Right. But we as a community have to also be proactive in shining light on the legitimacy of owning guns, of carrying guns for self defense, and the normalcy of it. And it only through doing that, only through speaking out and saying, hey, I own an AR-15 and it's never assaulted anyone. And, just exactly what is it that you call an assault weapon? What makes it assaultable or assaulty?
Yeah,
That just describe for
yeah.
me what it is that makes it, instead of just a rifle, makes it into this all of a sudden demonic thing.
And are you aware that people are killed with hands and fists than with AR with any kind of long? More people are stabbed than with any kind of long gun that are shot with any kind of long gun. I'll say this: I'm on Twitter quite a bit, and I've been pushing back left and right on the gun control crowd, including the Democrats in the General Assembly, because after this year's shameless attack on gun owners and then not wanting to put violent criminals in prison for any longer than necessary. I'm not letting them forget away with that. I'm not letting them say things without me countering and saying, well, by the way. And so, but I've also noticed, and I think this is great, every time the gun Twitter, you should see the flood of gun owners coming in there and hammering them. I'm cheering them on. This is great. For every
Hmm.
comment they get on their side, they get like 10 or 12 of us saying, no, what about this? What about that? Or posting a meme that shows the stupidity of something that they're doing. I mean, this is what we need to do. If you're on
Right.
Facebook, same thing. Get in there. Don't let a gun control idiotic comment or statement go unanswered. We need to answer every one of those with
Yeah.
logic and reason and maybe some emotion as well.
And remember, it's not for the person that's making that statement, because chances are you're not going to change their mind. It's for the
Hmm.
people that are reading that tweet or whatever X calls it now. Do you call it
I don't really
excrement
know.
or X?
Is
Oh, God. Oh, no.
I
uh,
mean, I'm sorry, but
Excuse me, I got to post an excrement.
yeah,
some of it is.
correct.
Well,
But
yeah, that's
anyway, it's for the people reading the comments. They're the ones, the people that maybe are undecided, or just it happens to catch their eye and they never thought about that before, and then
And
all of a sudden they look at the comments and they're like, well, that makes a lot more sense than what the original post said.
And it's
yeah.
also like a Reddit feed. It's like a Reddit feed. If you are Googling, say it, you're, Joe Schmo who does not have any type of social media outlet, but you have this question, those keywords and those tweets will actually, especially if the comments are public, they'll show up in a Google feed and a Google
Hmm.
search. So people, outsiders are actually seeing these answers or these, what would you call it? These gun controller celebrity types, like the
Hmm.
Shannon Wattses and Gabby Giffords and stuff like that, their excrements are actually publicized on the Google feeds now. So that's how others will get those answers, and that's why it's really important to counter uh those types of excrements. I don't know. That is so funny to me.
Yeah, you may have started some.
We're gonna tag Elon to excrements from now on.
But
Um,
like yeah.
He might have to change the name of his social media thing again.
but I mean, and in essence, I mean, combating them. I mean, for the most part, you have these groups: Moms Demand, Students Demand, Moffle, March for Our Lives. Most of them, when they speak, they're especially when they excrement or whatever you want to call it on these feeds. Most of what they say is scripted. You can write, I mean, there is a playbook out there actually. I think I have it somewhere. I'll have to send it to everyone. But it's scripted. You can speak to any one of them in different states or whatever, and they're going to give you the exact same lines on the
Hmm.
exact same questions that you have. Whereas as gun nuts, it sticks with me all the time. But we have a personal relationship with our reasons for owning, and we have that emotion behind it. But at the same time, we're getting so berated by these groups and by the government and everyone else that it's almost like we're too afraid to actually speak up louder, and it comes across as trolling sometimes on these social feeds. But going back to what Pat says, we have to actually start showing ourselves as with a little bit more emotion behind it, as far as why, like,
Right.
my example is today. My mother's neighbor happened to get a security job. I don't want to give too much of his personal business out there, but he had a firearm on his hip, and my mom, being who she is, she was like, you should talk to my daughter about getting your concealed carry. And he was like, well, she knows about that. I thought she was just a mom, And here, my mom's like explaining. She's like, no, she knows about it. She's, she's actually got a lot more insight on it than most people would think, and that's something that I found to be kind of humbling today. She told me about that earlier, so that that was kind of neat. It was kind of like, okay, yeah, so let's start a conversation. Yeah, I do know more, probably more about it than you do. So that's what
And
I'm saying, especially as a woman, as a mom. You wouldn't, seeing me in a day to day. Some folks in Pennsylvania County. I am from Pennsylvania County, but if you see me out, you wouldn't even think that even know what an AR-15 looks like. So it's one of those things. So
I was,
Yep.
yeah, on X. Apparently, Dan Helmer, who is one of the worst of the gun control
uh,
crowd, the guy,
I'm gonna
and
mute you right now.
he has a flyer where he's talking about how his family survived Holocaust and all this. He like three times he said it. So another Juke was pointing on this, saying, "Well, now all of a sudden he's worried about the Holocaust, because he's trying to run for office." On that one, so as an example, I tweeted out in 2020, Helmer voted to turn synagogues into gun-free zones if they have a daycare or preschool at the synagogue. He ignored the
Mhm.
several rabbis who pointed out how dangerous such a law would be for Jews. With friends like Helmer, dot dot dot. So I've been doing again. I'm not letting these guys get off the hook with the stuff that they're doing, and I've done a lot of tweets like that with again some of the key people, some of the key Democrats in the General Assembly, because of their bad votes. I'm not letting them get away with being hypocrites. But again, that's the advantage of X is I'm getting in there and able to post this stuff. Again, not because I'm going to change Helmer's mind, but a lot of the people looking at it may not realize. Oh, I was going to like Helmer because he was, for he had family that survived the Holocaust. Oh, wait a minute, why is he making synagogues gun-free zones that are going to make them targets for people that don't like Jews? So.
What was his name? And he was in Virginia. Mark.
Oh,
What was his name?
Mark. Yeah. Yeah. I'll think of it in a second. Yeah,
Why
the one
can't I
that
think of
was
his name?
really anti-gun and didn't
Yes, and
lost the primary. Levine,
yes,
Mark Levine.
Mhm.
thank you, thank you. I was starting to say I knew it was like somebody else was somebody on our side, so to speak, was also named Mark Levine.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Mark Levine in Virginia, he on Facebook, I had actually tagged him by accident in something and combated him. And he and I had a big roundabout on that, but he kept saying that AR-15s were created by the Nazis and just all this stuff. It just, he really worked that up into this
yeah.
big deal. And fortunately, I had, my little team at Mom at Arms, they kind of like chimed in and the more historical, the history guys on my team. And it was so funny to watch him just completely just fall apart. It was
Yeah.
almost to the point where he was just, he couldn't handle himself anymore. So I think he petitioned not too long ago for the ACLU to make it to where you had to be a constituent in his area in order to speak to him on social media.
Oh boy. Oh
It was
yeah.
wild, just the spew that it came from. And then it was not too long after we actually found information where he was putting out this propaganda that us especially around lobby day of 2020, that we were the perpetrators of mass shootings, and that anybody who carried a gun openly, we encouraged mass shootings and blah blah blah. Well, he actually wrote a book on how to commit a mass shooting.
Oh great.
So it's just really wild to see all of this. And you dig deeper into these politicians like Dan Hilmer, you're going to find that he is just all talk. It's nothing but for
Yeah.
profit and for
And
votes.
you
And
got somebody like
they're
Jennifer
wild.
Boysko.
Mhm.
Jennifer's
Oh,
running. She's a senator running for Congress. Democrat voted wrong on everything. And she posted, and again, VCDL only takes a position on firearms. We don't take a position on anything else. We don't take a position on abortion, nothing. We figure there's groups for all of that for people that are gun owners. We don't take a position. However, she said in one of her tweets, no one should be telling women what they can do with their bodies. Virginia is the last state in blah, blah, blah. And I came back and I said, should anyone tell a woman what type of firearm she can use to protect herself and her family? Should government make it harder for her to get or carry a firearm? So I'm curious. Of course, Jennifer didn't bother answering that, but again, that was for the people on the fence going, yeah, well, that's kind of true. Why are we telling women how to protect themselves? Why are we doing that? So it's
Right.
stuff like that, and other people piled on, and I think that's the way to go.
So another thing is that once you open that conversation and you make that comment on social media countering that anti-right statement, then other people, it emboldens other people that know the truth to speak the truth,
hmm
because everybody's scared to be the first one. But once the ice is broken, then everybody's like, "Yeah," and then they post their part, and it snowballs.
exactly.
So
Yep.
don't be afraid to be the first one, because
No, don't be
there's a
afraid
whole
to be a
bunch of
leader,
people.
basically, right,
Right.
Pat? I mean, it's
Hmm.
really being
Yes.
a leader,
Right.
getting out
Absolutely.
there and taking, and if they respond, then you respond back. The truth
Right.
is, they don't like debating gun rights people because, we have all the ammunition, if you will. We we have all they'll make up studies and they love
Right.
statistics and they make stuff up all the time. 95% of NRA members want universal background checks. Oh yeah, you bet. Yeah, sure. Where did you get those? Where did you get the information from 95% of the NRA members? Considering I don't know anybody that's responded to any of the surveys like that.
The same
But
place that what's his name got the information that 7,000 guns were stolen from cars last
oh
month.
yes,
And
yes.
I mean, I had to get my phone out and Google that one real quick, because it was like, wait, what? So,
It's just ridiculous. I mean,
not even nationwide, okay? So,
No, they were implying in Virginia.
yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Or was that just in Chesterfield County?
yeah. In his dreams, maybe. I don't know.
And that was
Um,
Dave Marsden, I think, that made that
yeah, it
comment.
was. It was. Same guy that said that he was passing the introduced a law that if you leave your gun in your car and somebody can see it from the outside of the car and you're not in your car, then they will tow your car and fine you, and so that criminals can't get the gun, right? Well, how many things are stolen out of impound lots, by the way? And
Yeah.
so one of the senators on the committee asked him. He said, "Well, this just applies to handguns. Why didn't you make it for long guns?" And he said, "Oh, I like hunters."
Yeah, I remember that.
I
He doesn't
almost
like
felt
the
the
rest
same
of us.
here. Yeah, I don't like these other people, but I like hunters.
Oh my gosh.
You can't make
Yeah,
this stuff
Um,
up.
no,
y'all, y'all are
we
on the
need to
end that I couldn't sit on.
we need a foot extractor in these committee meetings, okay?
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
He gets the
I
foot
mean,
stuck in the mouth. He needs something to
uh-huh.
pull it out.
Mhm.
I
Yep.
would not
So
be able to keep a straight face.
I don't even
we're
try sometimes.
we're getting close to 9 o'clock, Philip. Have I derailed the conversation, or have we gotten everything that was on your list?
I think we've kind of covered most of the stuff. We've got, like I say, we've got, a lot of things in the previous alert that's going on. Certainly, again, all around us, things are happening. In Oregon, of all places, Oregon has some really bad gun control lately that's been going on there, but they got a magazine ban struck down in the courts there, and I don't think it's coming back. So that was very recent. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of that going on. The Supreme Court is going to be looking at, I think, the quote unquote assault weapon bans. So I think that should be very interesting. Um, they've already said that firearms in common use are protected by the Second Amendment. So this ought to be a really interesting ruling coming up on that at some point.
So, Sean Kennedy, one of our Chantilly Gun Show coordinators, has mentioned that the Chantilly Gun Show is going to need help at the June show. So, if you're a member and want to volunteer, you get into the show free for the whole weekend, even if you just volunteer for one shift. And it's fun. You get to talk to other gun owners, and you get to talk to people about VCDL. And Kat Schultz, who, by the way, comes all the way from Christiansburg to lobby the General Assembly a lot of times. And she sat there through torturous committee meetings right beside Philip and myself. And she says complacency can make rights leave inch by inch, and these propagandist antis need to be called out as much as possible. And so, yeah, absolutely. Complacency is one of our biggest enemies. So,
Yeah.
we if you remember, the next issue of the Defender is in the works, and one of the things that I wrote about in that is that we need to take advantage of the momentum that we've got. You know, that we're living in absolutely historic times with Bruin's
Hmm.
decision in 2020. These A lot of these laws that infringe on our rights have been falling like dominoes. The permitting process may very well get a challenge and be overturned. The fact that localities can make you get a permit to carry concealed may be challenged under Bruin. I don't know of anything at the time of the ratification of the Bill of Rights that allowed for permits. Now, at the time of the Civil War, yes, because the permitting process there was to keep freed slaves from being able to defend themselves against the posses and the KKK that were going to bring them back into slavery. So I don't know how well that would hold up in court, even.
Yeah,
So,
some have hesitatingly tried to use arguments like that, and it only makes them look really
right.
bad to
It
say,
really
"Oh, we want
does.
to be like the that was back when the KKK was intimidating black people." Oh, really?
Right.
Is that what you want? Okay, well, um, course, you do get it. I was thinking back on thinking about the General Assembly. Pat and I were there when Marcus Simon is a delegate in the a Democrat, where he basically admitted to breaking federal law.
Hmm.
If you remember that one in committee,
Yeah,
he admitted to break. He didn't know he was admitting to it, but he admitted on camera to
twice.
twice to making a
Yes.
homemade gun and having a friend provide the tools and do much
Hmm.
of the work.
Yes, I bought one of those
Lord.
80% ghost guns, and I borrowed my friend's tools, and
And
he
he
showed me how
helped me
to
because
do
I
it.
couldn't
Yeah,
do
and
it by
he helped me
myself.
do it. Right. Uh-huh. Yes, absolutely.
We got up there
So,
and pointed out that he had just violated federal law,
right.
and he looked awfully
Well,
uncomfortable when we pointed that out, as he should.
I'm uncomfortable now for him.
And
That's
who
We
was
called
it?
it out back when he did it. This was a few years ago, and said
Yeah.
here's an example of how
oh,
you
that might
violate
be.
federal law and how crazy our laws are. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
which legislator was it that was saying something about these? Oh, that he had bought an AR-15, a evil assault rifle,
Hmm.
and he was going to destroy it. So he went to cut it and cut right through the handguard and the barrel and shortened the barrel to like 6 inches and videotaped himself doing this and posted it on social media. And
Hell
I'm like,
yeah.
oh my goodness. So
You just made a short barrel rifle, sir,
yes.
and you don't have a
Oh my
tax stamp.
gosh.
So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
a major felony right there.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta love it. But of course, the government tends to look the other way if it's the right people doing stuff like that, where you and me would be in jail for a long time.
Anyway, I got off on a tangent. My article this month is about how we have this momentum from the Bruin decision and from all of these cases being challenged. And now is the time when we really, really need to get active and push. We have a good Supreme Court that's making good decisions. We have enthusiasm among our ranks. And so, if you guys can spare $2, $5, $10, anything like that to help us with these lawsuits, we want to keep this momentum going. We have an extreme uphill battle. We've got the momentum to get up that hill, but we got to keep our foot on the gas to do it. So join in the fight any way you can. Volunteer at the gun shows. If you can't do time, send donations. Contact VCDL and learn ways to get involved. Jill's working on getting more youth involved. So if you want to get in with her, and if you, especially if you have teenage or college age kids, let's get them on the right path here, because the youth of today is the future of our country. So, all right, I'm off my soapbox now.
And get your get to add to that, get your friends and family involved. Like start getting them on. I mean, start asking them if they're members. Start asking them if they know anything about us. Start educating them
Hmm.
on us as a whole. Um, but yeah, send me your kids.
Yeah,
That's
teach them
fun.
how
I'm
to
thinking
shoot
about gun
first.
safety.
So, yeah, Cragans has said the reality on legal challenges to current laws, Supreme Court is not likely to take a case until there are multiple rulings on a topic from several different circuit courts of appeals. And we've got that right now. We've got a lot of things that are destined to head to the Supreme Court. The other reality is when you're in local and state court, you're talking cases, if you actually go to court, you're talking 50, 60, even $75,000 just to get through the state courts. And if you're going up to appeals, add another 30 to 50,000 to that. When you get up to that Supreme Court level, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're very fortunate. GOA has helped out with all of our Virginia lawsuits. They've been right
Mhm.
there and lockstep with us in funding as you know, they've been matching us so far dollar for dollar. I don't know how long they'll be able to continue doing that. They've got a lot of other states they're helping and federal cases that they're doing. And at the same time, we're helping with a lot of the federal cases. Well, some of the federal cases that they're fighting because it has such an impact on Virginia gun owners. So, you know, the reality is it takes money to win this war. And we're going to have to start pushing out advertising to change public opinion and to get the word out there to people that don't know that they should care about this. So, you know, just get involved any way you can, is all I can say.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people don't know anything that's going on.
Right.
But
So,
more than likely, if you're here doing this, you're of that crew that do know. They're watching everything. You're alert. You know what's going on. But there's a whole bunch of our brothers and sisters out there
right.
that aren't paying attention, and that's going to hurt us. We got an election coming up this year. Yeah, it's not a Virginia election. This is a national election. Tim Kaine is up for election, so. Um, you know,
Yes.
we need to be out there. We need to be voting. We need to be getting friends and family out to vote. You need to be active.
Boy, would I like to
So,
see him gone.
oh, oh,
Yes.
where's the champagne, man? I haven't gotten drunk on champagne in four.
Please.
But I will do it. I'll do it on FaceTime, you know, or
Probably
whatever.
take one glass for you, Philip.
You'd be surprised, actually.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Anybody
So
wants to see Phil get lit on champagne, you have to get your family out to vote.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's take Tim Kaine out. I want to see this. So my son, I was talking to him earlier today. You know, Mother's Day and all of that. But anyway,
Mm,
he called me and he said, you know, he lives up in Northern Virginia area, and he said that on the TV up there, it's all of these political ads talking about gun control and how evil guns are and everything, and the gun crime this and the gun crime that. So we need to pump out the advertising in these areas
Mhm.
that if we want to win this war, we have to hit areas like Arlington and Fairfax and Loudoun County and all of that, Northern Virginia, and some of the other areas that vote um, for the people that vote for the gun laws, the anti gun laws. And we need to put the ads out there showing that because they can't defend themselves is why they're being victimized with this crime. You know, just turn the tables on it. Take those ads, use the emotions and the keywords that they're doing, and turn it around the other way and show them for the lies that they are. But we've
yeah.
got to have the money to put into the TV ads and things to counter that message. And if the message isn't countered, then it looks like that's the only opinion out there.
And if the only thing you're
Mhm.
hearing is one thing, then you assume that's true because you're not hearing anything and saying it's not true. It's just it's a sad reality. At least
Right.
we have some very creative people that can put ads like that together. But running them can be is where the obviously where the money kicks in. It's just a
Yeah.
battle all the way around.
Yes. And working gun shows is one way to talk to people, but working gun shows, you're getting to gun owners. We need to reach the people that either aren't gun owners or they are the what I call passive gun owners, like
Mhm.
the COVID gun owners. So there were a lot of people that would have never dreamed of owning a gun before, and then COVID hit, and the police stopped answering, you know, showing up for 911 calls, and they realized that hey, it's up to me. If the bad guy comes to my door, it's up to me to defend my family. So they
Yeah,
went out and they got a gun, and it sits in their nightstand or it sits in a safe, or um, hopefully it doesn't sit in their car where it will likely get stolen. But um, they they really are not gun owners. They're just gun purchasers. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
So they really don't know that this is something that is a precious right for so many reasons. And that's the person we have to meet. We have to reach.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Then there's lots of them, lots of them out there, but they should be reachable.
Hmm.
You know, they saw a need to own a firearm in the first place, so but it's just a matter of getting them involved and say, yeah, but if you want to be able to keep and that gun's not going to be any good if you can't take it anywhere. All
Right.
this stuff that's coming down,
Or the
it's
guy
all
that
hands on
says,
deck.
yeah, or the guy that says, well, I don't see why anybody needs anything but a shotgun. You know, that's
Mm,
all I need to hunt with. I don't need a pistol. I don't need a rifle.
yeah,
You know, so that they don't understand that after they come for the pistols and the rifles, they're coming for that shotgun too.
yeah, yeah.
So,
That thing that sends out hundreds of balls of death with one pull of
hmm,
the trigger. You know, yeah,
right.
they'll villainize it and then they'll come for it. Oh, you bet.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or they'll say you can have one, but it's got to be stored at a facility, at a shooting
Right.
facility. You can't
Right.
take it home. You can't. You can just use it at the facility, and you have to lock it up. And you'll
Right.
have to account for every single round that you fire. If you buy 10 rounds, and you've got to account for every one of those before you can buy 10 more or whatever. We've
Right.
seen this in other countries. That's very real for those of you who think I'm exaggerating here. Yeah, they're very, very much so. You account for every round.
Right. Anyway, that was one reason that I came up with this veto coin, was to raise money to help VCDL fight the lawsuits and get the word out with the advertising and things. So, you know, it's a fundraiser for VCDL. And
Yeah, neat,
I
neat
put the
little.
link in the chat farther back. So scroll through, click the link, get your coin. They'll go out this week.
Yeah, a little part of history because that had never happened before. Of course, that many vetoes. Of course, not that many bad gun bills have ever been put on a governor's desk before either. I mean, they just went absolutely ape.
Yeah, and
They were crazy. They just.
they, I remember Philip shortly after the all the vetoes went to the governor. All the governor vetoed all of those bills, and there was an article about how the governors vetoed more bills than any other Virginia governor in history. And Philip was reading me the article, and I said, "Well, if they hadn't sent so many bad bills to the governor,
You
he
wouldn't
wouldn't
have to
have
do
had
it.
to veto all of those things." So,
Yeah, they don't talk about that, of course.
yeah, yeah,
All this
that's
common. But again, like I say, for me, Um, the gloves came off even more with this session. They truly did. I mean,
oh yeah.
um, they went after people like you and me and Pat and Jill. That's the
Mhm.
kind of people that the Democrats were going after.
And blatant
Again,
about it.
and
Just right
blatant.
out in the open. Oh, I
Yeah,
like
even stuff
hunters.
they
It's
were
just
told was
people
going to
with
be.
pistols. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Hmm.
it's going to be, this is unconstitutional, lawyers told them in committee. Oh, well, it's all right. We're going to go ahead and pass it anyhow.
Yeah.
It was, and then again, they had a bill, and I've got the video now. It's all put together. I just have to send it to Pat to look at, and she doesn't see anything odd in there. I'm going to go ahead and post it. But them again saying, "Oh no, no, we don't want to put violent felons that have committed a crime a second or third or fourth time. We don't want to lock those poor guys up for 10 years minimum. No, no, no. We think they should be back on the streets."
Right.
I mean, when you see that, and then the same, and again, in the video, the Republicans are pounding them over this, as they should. They
Hmm.
pounded them. They said, "You got to be kidding me. All these gun control groups that are in here every day fighting to take away the rights from good people are the same people now that are saying, well, we don't want to punish bad guys with mandatory minimums." And again, and one of the Republicans really shut them down on that because they were trying to say, well, but we show that the surety of punishment is what stops criminals from using guns.
Right.
It's not the length of the punishment, but the surety that they will be punished. And one of the Republicans goes, yeah, if you're going to get a mandatory minimum of 10 years in the prison, you're sure to get punished and punished harshly. But what are you missing? But in the
Yep.
end, one of the senators, Senator Stewart, said, you know, what this does show is that you want to take away guns from good people, and that's all you want to do, and shame on you. And he said that in committee, and that's all in the video. So I think people are definitely going to want to
For
watch
him.
and spread that. That video will be useful to my counterpart in other states, because the people that we have in that video are Moms Demand Action, which is all around the U.S., and it also had the Brady campaign. So they're all around. Those are national groups saying we don't want to punish violent criminals. I think that could be useful to counterparts in Virginia. I mean, in states outside of Virginia, if they also want to do the same thing and point out that this is not about making of the Brady campaign and Moms Demand Action, saying we don't want to punish criminals.
Right.
It's just ridiculous.
All right. Well, were there any questions on the chat? I've only had a chance to glance at a few of them.
I've been watching as it scrolled. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, some of this
Uh,
is people talking amongst themselves, which is fine.
yep.
Uh,
Yep. I certainly
Eddie
hope so.
Garcia, who is a VCDL member, is running against Tim Kaine. Okay, that was
Hmm.
Bill Pearson that put that comment in. All right.
Let's see. Yeah. I don't think we missed anything, but if we did,
Okay.
I'll scroll back through it and answer in the chats later.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're at 9:15. We've kept you all for a little over an hour here. So once again, I'm going to wish all the mothers out there happy Mother's Day, and hope everybody had a pleasant Sunday. It was a gorgeous day out there. I hope you
Yeah.
had time to get outside. I know I found time to get to the range for a little while, and
Oh yeah.
um, yep, did a few
I
things
spent
outside.
3 hours
So
there. And by
yep,
the way, if you're in Virginia Beach or in Tidewater area, we're having our meeting on the 20th. This month is going to be in Virginia Beach at the main library there,
right.
and it'll start at 5:45 and go to 7:15 on Tuesday, May 21st. So come on out. We had to rent the room, but it's a nice auditorium, so it's a really nice facility. And then afterwards, those that wish will go to a local restaurant for some continued fellowship. So if you're in Virginia Beach, show up for that. Then we'll be back up in Loudon next month. And the month after that, we'll probably be in Fishersville. So watch for a message on our meeting there. So
Yep.
we're trying to move around the state to give people a chance to attend the meeting live in various places.
Yep. And so we're looking for different places to have meetings. If there's a library, a community center, someplace in your area that holds up to 100 people, Philip,
Yeah,
that
50 to 100,
that
minimum
that
50.
doesn't ban guns, and you want to have a meeting in your area, you can email president at vcdl.org, coordinate a date and time with him. And we prefer things that don't charge for the room, but if it's a nominal charge, then we can maybe work something out. But we'd like to have meetings around the state on a regular basis so that more people can actually come to the meeting. And as the weather gets nicer, we'll look at having some picnics at different areas as well.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, those are always a great deal of fun. I love those.
yep. So
Yeah,
watch the VA alert for all of that and for updates on Second Amendment news.
yeah. Maybe we need to have one out where Jill is. We have a meeting out your way. I think it's been a while. I
Yep.
think Fishersville would be new. I don't think we've ever held one there. So
No,
it'd be,
I don't think
it'd be,
so.
it'd be fun.
Yep.
So, okay, well, very good. You guys know how to reach me, and you know how to reach Pat, and you know how to reach Jill. Our emails are right there on the website. So if you have anything, let us know. We're you know, we answer our own emails, so we don't have anybody to answer them for us. So we're there. You can reach me if you want to talk to me.
Yep. All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you for coming out. Thank you for attending this, and we'll do it again next month.
All right. Good night, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.